tells me one thing.
That doesn't mean he hasn't got discipline. That just means he's not very good at coping with jet lag. Sure.
No, it means that I know what he's doing. He's just falling asleep when he feels like it.
William, you're so mean. You're so mean. Let's take you through the two team lineups. We'll start with Evil Geniuses. It is a new lineup, Alan, in the sense that we've got some changes, obviously in personnel, personnel change, Universe having moved away, Misery coming in. And also a change up of position because the Universe is leaving and Misery coming in as far. That automatically means they're going to have to switch things up. Do you think they've got it right? Do you think it's going to take time?
So I think I can tell you two things about it. Number one is that I think this is a change that was made with a longer term view. What I think a lot of people miss about the season, like the teams that finish second half the field at TI, a lot of them would crush the best teams right now. Like when you look at the TI, it's all about getting better. And I think this was a change that EG made with a very long view. Are we going to be able to win TI with this year with our current roster? Right. And it's hard to part ways with a guy like Universe. The other thing though, I'm not quite sure what the roles are going to be because there was a little bit of switch up at the end of Galaxy Battles. I liked the concept of the Sumail to offlane, but we're going to see if they'll stick with it.
Yeah, what about you, Will? Do you like, I mean, I've been waxing Liverpool. I think it's a fantastic move for Sumail. He's one of these playmaker mids. He's not able to do that in the current meta. Put him in the off lane. Make him the man that makes the plays. Make him the person that can start things off for them.
Yeah, for sure. I think for him especially, it's been really frustrating because he looks at the other mids and he sees that they get like fair, quote unquote, fair matchups, and every game he just gets 3-on-1. And I know for a fact that's been bothering him a lot because every single tournament it's just like, okay, if you give me the 1-on-1, like I'll show you what I can do. But he never gets that anymore. And nowadays, surprisingly, like in the offlane, if he gets 3-on-1, his joke was like, at least it's expected. Yeah. Like if that happens to me, I'm okay with that. And if he gets the 1-on-1, of course he's very happy because he's Sumail and he finally gets to play that kind of game that he wants to play.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on to their opponents, Na'Vi. I guess the obvious question is that we ask every week, every day, are they back?
I think so, and I think so because I saw something out of them at Dream League that I haven't seen in a number of years. I saw a Na'Vi team show up, and I knew we didn't play the best series in the best games in that series, but I saw a Na'Vi team show up on LAN and just beat a top team by playing better Dota. And so for me, that was a watershed. That was a real landmark moment for that franchise. I think they have a very good chance to be competitive this season.
Okay, well, is that down to one of many things, presumably, but is it a mix of Havost as the coach? Is it Dendi playing well? Is it Crystallize coming into the team? What is it?
Dude, I sort of disagree. I think Na'Vi is like still just whatever.
Still trash tier?
Not trash tier, because saying trash tier is like, there's some teams that I put there before, but
I nearly baited you there, didn't I?
The trash stacks up high, so it's keeping them above that. But it's like, I remember before, what event was it? It was like TI6. It was TI6. Like they looked okay. They got like second.
They won a couple of tournaments.
Yeah, they got like second.
They did well.
They won a tournament right before TI. They got second at an ESL, and everyone's like, oh yeah, they're a really good team. And you know, we were screaming against them at Liquid at the time, and it just felt like they were so mediocre when it came to beating the best teams. And that's what you got to stack up against. I know that sounds really harsh, but this Dota's like not a participation thing where it's just like every team's good, guys. No, all teams are not created equal. I'm sorry to be the one to tell you this. Some teams are just worse than others, and you're not measured by the average. You're measured by the best. And that's why, for example, EG made that change. EG was not a bad team. They were not having terrible results by any stretch. They got top 4 at multiple events, but they're not measuring themselves against the guys that they're getting out in the semifinals. They're measuring themselves against guys like Liquid and Secret. They literally said, guys, we literally can't beat these teams. We need to make a change to let you on the inside of why that happened, because that's what you should be shooting for. And for me, Na'Vi right now, against the average teams, sure, they look average. And against the great teams, they're still losing. Okay. So for me, prove it.
All right. Well, they've got an opportunity to do that in our first draft in this particular group. Liquid have already won their match in Group B, but this is the opening game that we've shown here of Group B, EG versus Na'Vi, and the draft is, as you can see, well underway.
Yeah, and already EG sticking with a formula that they picked up and that apparently worked for them until the final at Galaxy Battle. They've now chosen Death Prophet first phase in 6 out of the last 7 games.
So you'd assume Fear is...
Yeah, Safe Lane DP has been their MO here, and again, it's tricky because you don't know exactly what roles are going to be. Navi comes back with the counterplay a little bit with the AA. That's very good against the DP. Of course, he's a very heal-dependent hero, but the Tusk is sort of the wild card. I think he's a hero. Statistically, since 707D hit, Tusk's win rate in pro games is actually like 45%. It's not been that great, but it feels like every time I see a Tusk with a really good team playing it, he's very, very impactful. He's got one of the only AoE saves in Dota.
It's also Crit's most played in 707 right now, so he's obviously favouring him.
Yeah, I mean, this was the hero that he kind of burst onto the scene with at the Frankfurt Major, where he was just
2015
he was by far and away the best Tusk in the world, and he made that hero just like stupidly OP. I think like right after that tournament, they just Ice Frog was just like nerf,
no more.
Nerf. Like, the peak of that hero was just way too good.
And this is another hero again that EG have been running that other teams really have not been touching. They picked it twice at Galaxy Battles, both times after the DP Open in the first phase.
Yeah,
it's funny actually because whenever I see the portrait of Warlock pop up, I often think of Vincere. I don't know why.
I mean, I think Rasmus has this like idea about Dota that's like kind of unique, but it fulfills like a lot of the conditions that I think he'll like. It's very nice team fights, good control. Fatal Bonds is quite nice against all those heroes. You can overwhelm them. It's a very good laning phase hero too.
He's also drafting, right?
Who? Rasmus? Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
With some help, obviously. I mean, there's some experienced old heads behind him there. One of them being Sam, of course, and the other one being Fear. So plenty of input, I'd imagine.
He was their second choice for captain after TI. So first was Fear, and of course Fear's like, I need some time to think about this, and he said yes. But number 2 was Rasmus right after that.
They had Crit as well.
I think Crit didn't really want to be captain anymore, though.
I think he was just pushed into it a little bit.
I was
we
like,
need something different here.
Yeah, once I left, Crit was just like, I don't know if this is necessarily for me. Because Crit, he's a natural 4. Like, you can't, you know, he had to be a 5 because the situation demanded for it, but he is a natural 4.
And I think a lot of people that watch the game casually underestimate the tax that being a captain and drafter places on your in-game play. Like it's very, very hard to be a captain and drafter and still be a real playmaker inside the game.
Sure.
And Crit he's a true playmaking 4. Now, Warlock is unusual. Really, there are only 2 players that have really played him in this patch, and it's Pylai and Misery, and they're 5-1 and 4-0 respectively. And it feels like a hero that other teams pick it once, they lose with it, and they never pick it again.
Yeah. I think the same question marks though like exist for me when it comes to EG. Like I don't want to be too heavy-handed on just Navi because I feel like both these teams like right now they're getting by on more of their brand name and past accomplishments. But for me it's like this is a great event for either of these 2 teams to cement themselves and say we actually belong in this kind of like field. Because right now for me it's like 3 teams at the top of the field, maybe a 4th just entered with VGJ, but it was like VGJ, Thunder, not to be confused with Storm, no offense Jack, Liquid, Secret, and VP. And then after that, like, they are standing on top of people like far and away, and so you got to meet them.
And that's what and that's why I think there was so much impetus for some of these roster moves is that everybody else in the field is looking up at those teams and saying, okay, we can't beat the level at which those 3 teams are playing consistently right now. We need to do something different.
Yeah.
But there's also, I want to point out that okay, there might be 3 or 4 at the top, but there are plenty of spots after that to get to TI. And
of course,
that's what the first goal for these teams. That's the EG and the Navis of the world. They're looking at that, aren't they?
I see. This is where like I semi-disagree with you because getting into a TI is like nice, but one time
I'll agree with you on EG aren't looking at it. The EG are looking at how do we get to number 1.
Yes.
Navi are looking at how do we get to TI.
I think for them it would be a big boon, but I ran into a pro once. It was like Tomato before TI7, and I was like good luck at TI, and he's like, what's the point of getting into TI if you're gonna get last?
Right.
And it was like at the time I was like, man, that's a bleak way to look at it, but it's true.
It's realistic.
Yeah, it's realistic because you don't want to go to these events and
it's part of what I really respect about these guys. Like last place or bottom half of the field at TI is still a respectable paycheck.
I mean, I'm not talking about that you just get to TI. I'm saying that Navi right now are focused on making sure they get to TI.
Oh, for sure.
Because once they're in it, then anything can happen, right? And they know that. They've been there before.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's talk about let's talk about this draft though, guys, because EG, again, if they're going to follow the formula that they've been following at Galaxy Battles and before, this looks like Terrorblade's still on the table. Looks like a reasonable 5th pick Terrorblade lineup for them. Navi showing the Tinker though in the 4th position, which already sort of pre-counters it a little bit. And now the Void. The general. It looks like it's going to be the General Void here.
Yeah, I think like I can't actually see like Jug Band. You could take like Jug. I think you could take Jug
with AA already on board.
It's different.
Do you feel like you can still get value out of the Healing Ward against an AA?
Yeah, for sure. Okay. It works in reverse, is the way that we used to think about it, is that Healing Ward doesn't necessarily get countered by AA Blast. It works in the opposite because, you know, once the burst damage is dealt, you're okay. And you want heroes that like run at AA, because AA's contribution to the team fight is that everybody else sets up and then he Ice Blasts. But if you're simply just running it, Navi's lineup, it's not as easy.
Good call. Yeah, I like that argument. And
we used to think that too. We used to think like heals get countered by AA. You can't pick heals. It's all bad, but it doesn't quite work like that, right? It means that yes, like heals are slightly diminished, but you can't be afraid of picking these heroes just solely because of that.
And that's why when you go back and you see that like you have the AoE potential of the snowball, you can shards to split up the fight. As long as Jug can wait and can get the Healing Ward up after the Ice Blast is mostly
he'll just chill.
Yeah, he's fine. So I think this, despite the AA on paper counter picking a couple EG heroes, I think they're fine here.
Okay, all right, good stuff. Thank you very much, gents. We'll get more, of course, from Will and Alan after this particular matchup. Let's see how we go into this one. It's EG versus Navi. Always a classic. Let's hope for another one.
Welcome to the casting desk, gods. Joining me is Trent Pax, EG versus Navi. This is one of the more exciting, captivating games for today, I feel.
Yeah, in terms of that first round matchups, I think this is the one everyone's really looking at, very excited for. We still have this new trial of Sumail in the off lane, even though they've just now played through that whole tournament of Galaxy Battles, which obviously went very well, right up until the end. Yeah. So they've got this kind of like tri-core thing going on. Everyone's a little perplexed, it seems. Everyone's loving to talk about, like, what is EG doing? Like, they have these 3 heroes that, like, who's the off laner, who's the mid? No one really knows. But this game, it's a little more obvious, I think.
Yeah, Vincere is meant to come in, create some direction, order, as was Bulba, and it seems like, you know, they're more lost than ever. But EG, still, like you say, they were good up until the end, which is where they fell short in that grand finals. Navi, they've gone through a lot of trials, tribulations with this current roster, and for the most part, it's been kind of a resurgence for them. But they don't really seem to be able to get across like the finish line for any of the big events they're going to.
No, everyone's still just waiting. It's a slow climb for Navi, and making their way back up, getting these invites right to tournaments, and trying to bring home some of those DPC points. So we'll see if maybe this will be the tournament for them.
All right, well, looking at the drafts, we've got a Mag Jug kind of classic combo. On Navi's side, you've got the kind of more big team fight, Faceless Void, AA, big ultis that they can throw there, Dendy, Tinker. Do you think
I feel like it's just maybe in terms of the ease of execution, like straight up outdrafts, I don't think anything looks too bad. In terms of like the easier game plan, I'd probably give it over to EG. I feel like maybe there's Sumail, he had some problems on the Chronosphere. Let's be obvious. You know, in terms of like that big initiating role, that was clearly something that was going a little bit off for him. But Magnus has always traditionally been a very big hero for him. He's very used to playing it, and he has a Tusk who can kind of maybe roll in first, get a little bit of scouting, and maybe set up something a little bit better for the RPs. So I feel like he might have a bit of an easier time than working with Chronosphere, as well as like the Tinker, kind of a little bit more of a tougher thing to match up perfectly with the Ice Blast and everything. It just feels like EG have this path to victory of, oh, let's go Alta Tower with Death Prophet.
And there's also this like clear counter initiator as well, you know, if Navi going with the Chrono, the Sand King, well, drop a Warlock Rock, reset the fight a bit. Yeah. So they've got not just the Magnus, but a couple of big team fight options themselves. So we'll see how things go here. We'll be an off-lane tiny pulling creep waves. I feel like we haven't seen as much of this as we initially saw on this new patch. This 707 patch was like, oh, you know, off-lane is going to have to struggle a bit again, but the pull was the answer to that for at least a little while.
Oh man, that mid Tusk, man. This guy's brutal. He just shows up in your mid lane, so good right at level 1, and then what happens when he gets level 2? Then he just has Snowball as well. You know, total disaster. DP versus Tinker, not gonna be a very fun time here for Dendy. So good thing that they were able to get that pull successfully at the bottom. That frees up Roger to come into the mid lane, and we get ourselves that little 2v2 action.
Yeah. Tusk in some ways looked like that. Based on the Galaxy, I was like, this could be the hero of the tournament as far as the 4th position goes, and definitely something we'll see EG for sure picking a lot.
Oh yeah, crit saves I think just outplayed everyone. Again, all the Tusks that I saw, I thought his snowball saves just stood above everyone else. Like unbelievable the plays he was getting. He's so good at spotting that creep or some sort of target that's within range that then he can try and save one of his cores with a snowball at that perfect moment. It was very interesting to watch him always up against like Elder Titans too, where it's like this battle of like whoever initiates first is going to lose. You know, if you start your stomp first, I'm going to get the snowball off and save everyone, that we're going to counter you, or going back the other way. But EG Tusk, yeah, certainly something we'll be seeing more of.
Sumail on the Magnus, unlike the Na'Vi offlane, does not need a pull creep waves. Void AA, not the scariest of dual lanes that really pose that much of a kill threat for him, at least initially. Yeah,
and Sand King's going to be very visible, like in terms of the minimap. He's going to be in the mid lane, he's running down to that bottom lane, not too much attention up top, so you don't have to worry too much about any sort of like a try gank or something onto your hero on the Magnus. In fact, Crit's actually up there helping him to try and secure the boundary room, but Snake actually still gets it. He might even beat him to the next one.
If there's a skewer, he's just dead here because he can't TP away, and yeah, it looks like they will get a first blood most likely. So Nico accepts his fate, one more right click, Sumail securing the last hit there. And that's first blood. Often you see these like supports going for bounty runes and suddenly surrounded by a couple roamers. Yeah. Goodbye.
I think he knew he was dead. He was just hoping he could maybe beat him to the bounty room, but well played there to block him off. So first blood heading their way, easy set for EG.
Not done. They're immediately coming mid. Crit taking the haste rune up top. Don't even think he needed the haste rune necessarily. Will bring down Dendi. And that is the early game power of the Tusk. You get level 2, Orb of Venom, Snowball, Ice Shards. You've got a stun that initiates, you've got a pseudo fissure that blocks people, and it's so easy to find those early kills.
And that's certainly one issue with the Na'Vi draft as well. In terms of like that early power and pressure and everything, they don't really have that at all. It's kind of all on the Tiny. Maybe he can make some plays happen, get some combos going on someone, but Tinker and Void are going to need a little bit of time to warm up here.
Not done there. Coming bottom now, General gets some help from the Sand King with a nice 2-man stun here, but the Ice Shots just last so long, he's still blocked in and will pay for it with his life. TZ picking up that kill, and Sumail top. Oh. Well, we caught the end of it, and the end was what mattered. It was a first hit bash as he goes for a TP out. I'm not going to be too happy about that one.
He's been doing fairly well up there, though. Actually, only 4 last hits. I thought maybe he'd have a little bit more. But his experience is kind of okay. He's gotten over level 3. He's been active around the waves, just constant harass of the AA, kind of keeping him down. And now Sand King managed to work his way up into the Tranquils, though, so he can be a little bit more active across the map. Perhaps surprising someone in either that bottom or mid lane.
Crit again getting active. Definitely feels like the player to watch here, as he's been all over the map. Top lane first blood, kill on mid, then a kill on bottom. Now he's back mid. Well, gets scouted by Roger. This feels like the most important thing for Roger right now, is try and track the Tusk around the map. You're not going to necessarily kill him, but stop him getting runes. Take this invis. Last time I got a haste, he found a kill on mid. And also just keep Dendi protected by giving him the information that he needs about the Tusk's whereabouts.
And it's hard to find a forward that can kind of match Tusk in that sense too. You know, a lot of teams were going towards Clockwork as someone who can kind of like 1v1 him or something, but then Tusk can always just like snowball and dodge so much of the damage from the battery saw, and it never really feels like you can just kill this guy. He just kind of roams around and you hope to just kind of drive him back into the woods or something away from your more important cores.
Back in the mid lane, Roger with this Invis rune still lingering. He's thinking about a kill, but unfortunately Death Prophet, one of those much harder to kill than most heroes. Sneaker showing up. They're going to get the Cold Feet into a Pyro Stroke, but he's already got 1 Spirit Siphon out. Will he get another? And it looks like he should be okay here with the Tusk coming in. Going to get the Snowball. Still on the run though. Fear may need to get some additional body block, but there it is. Crit with the Ice Shards on 2. Turned around perfectly. Crit. 1 or 2 more right clicks will finish him off, but he's done his job. He got a kill for Fear and turned around that gank.
He almost got out of there alive too. What a hero. Tusk indeed on top of everything.
Ice Shots just covers so much area, especially in that
the mid lane. Yeah. Like the mid is just, it's so much better there compared to everywhere else.
You're not walking through or past up your ramp in the mid lane. It feels like, you know, that entire mid ramp shouldn't be blocked, but all of a sudden, you know, that ice gets in the way and you're just stuck there.
Yeah, and there's a reason his game is going so well too. I mean, you look at Misery, he has a clarity. That is Misery's entire item pool at the current moment, so it's always good when you have someone on your team who's helping you out like that.
Misery will maybe play some Greed later on with his custom Misery Midas, but got to get there first. Snowball back, very defensive. reactionary play. Could still be in some trouble as the Burrow Strike comes through. Arteezy trying to help him out with a healing ward. Is it going to be enough? No, crit goes down to Arteezy. Needs to be careful of being tossed into a Sankey who needs it. Oh, he gets the first hit crit. He was waiting for another Burrow Strike. He will still get the kill there, but that was a toss into the Sand King. General just want to get him as far away from the tower as possible. Still a win for Na'Vi, although unfortunately they do lose the Roger Sand King.
Yeah, Saneko sniped that healing ward so fast. Like the moment it was within range.
Not quite the big playmaking hero you maybe normally associate with Saneko being on the AA, but
yeah, it's a bit weird.
Necessary sometimes for the team.
Came online as like when he first came to the scene, he was just that big player. He's like making everything happen across the map. He was kind of the roamer, but he's more, I guess you could say, like almost matured into that role of like the captain and everything, playing more of the fives. So. Yeah. AA, at least you can get a couple of nice opportunities to make some plays with the Ice Blast or something, but for the most part, he's going to have to rely on Roger to set things up here. As General's one setting up bottom.
Yeah, didn't get the Avalanche Sun as Arteezy. Got the Blade Fury off. Could be in trouble, though. Does not have a TP out because he TP'd back into this one. And with the Ice Vortex low, they set up a Burrow Strike toss. He dies for a second time here. Some perhaps classic Na'Vi early game aggression with the rotations down bottom, leaving Void alone 1v1 top, but it's a hero that doesn't need much help. So if you're finding kills on the Arteezy Jug, you're pretty happy in Na'Vi shoes.
Yeah, I think this is great for them. I mean, I would have thought Sumail would have caught up way more with how much space he's been given, considering how much these supports have rotated. He's only gotten like 8 or 9 CS in the past couple minutes where they've just been absent. Like, no one's been up here. Crystallize just putting a beating on him, it looks like. He's got 3 points in the bash too, so he's just able to keep harassing him down.
And if you get down to half health, he will just throw that Chronosphere, go for the solo kill. Very tough matchup. You can't harass, as we see, Shockwave, he immediately time walks it off. So definitely a tough matchup for him, and one support could be his death. There is an AA TPing in up top. And yeah, it goes to the Chronosphere into the Cold Feet here with the chilling touch damage. Sumail gets caught by the Cold Feet as he skewers, unfortunately. Very unfortunate for him as he is still trying to juke. Goes north here and actually has completely juked him out. The bash this time is not there. Sumail will escape.
That's huge for him. That is so much time now where he can actually play in this lane. That's 2 full minutes. You know, you'd often hear like Moomiander talk about like forcing out things like that can just be a net benefit. You know, if the second that Chrono comes up, they just kill you. Oh well, at least now you can actually play around the wave and get some last hits, and you're going to earn more than you lost just from being killed that one time. But in this case, it gets used. He doesn't even die. So Sumail will be quite happy to rotate back up there. But actually, it looks like it's Arteezy who's there. So maybe they're going to try and make some sort of a play with the Omni Slash.
Yeah, given bottom lane to Misery, so trying to get that level 6 on Warlock, although he may quickly become a target for these rotations. Sand King, oh, it's Burrow Strike not even needed. They get the kill without him. As EG were looking mid lane. Similar kind of play, the gank onto the 5 position, but this time there is a Dendi Tinker there to help him out. Crit gets the creep deny, but needs to be careful he doesn't pay for this with his life as Dendi is hasted. Almost trying to get in Dendi's head. Back into a tower up top, Crystallize. Seem to care all
yeah, got a few stacks waiting in the jungle there for Dendi as well on the northern part of the map, so he'll have a little bit to help him catch up. Overall, not exactly the fastest Tinker game, but to be expected with all the pressure in the mid lane there from both the DP and the Tusk. I would say he came out pretty well, honestly, considering the situation. And similarly, Sumail is starting to bounce back out there. You can see he's actually almost caught up with Tinker there too.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like for a Tinker he's in an awful spot. What does feel like is that the Death Prophet is very farmed though. 4k net worth already. The kills that Fear got, as well as all the help from the Tusk, has led to him having a very big edge in this mid lane.
And I mean, we saw the Galaxy battles. He's just been on the Death Prophet like over and over and over. It just feels like a very comfortable hero for EG. They like the way that kind of fits that almost like No-Tail-esque playstyle for Fear, where he can just be a little bit more sacrificial. And rather than being perhaps like an initiator that you often see, it's more about like helping to siege towers in a sense that just like creates fights in that way. And they've been doing a very nice job playing around it. And finally, we're going to get this gank here with Arteezy. They're still just playing pretty chill.
It could backfire before it even begins if they're not careful here. Sumail gets the healing ward help, but gets sniped again. This time the Chronosphere going to catch 2. Warlock not level 6, and unfortunately that could be the death of Juggernaut as well. He gets the Blade Fury out, trying to run. Crystallize needs some bashes. He has a bit of time walk out to get some of the damage off, and Saneko gets credited the last hit for the kill. What a fight for Na'Vi. Crit, bottom lane, Snowball. Dodge some toss damage, could be still in some trouble here, but General does not want to go diving for that one in. Well, well, I say both carries. Sumail not a carry anymore, correction, but he feels like it sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
2 cores dying in the top lane with some kind of over-aggression from EG.
It's very rare to see a 10-minute chrono go that well. That's pretty much the dream, being able to wipe out 2 guys like that. And oh, crit? Okay, it'll be fine.
baiting hard. General guessed wrong with the avalanche, and now may pay for this with his life. The toss over from Crit into a neutral camp is not okay. It will get him killed, but not the way he was hoping for, as he perhaps wanted to throw the Juggernaut away. But
he has been such a lurker on those tusks, man. He just doesn't leave a team fight. You know, he's at 10% HP, doesn't matter. He still hangs around near the edges, tries to set up plays, and just like that with the snowball, very nicely done. That initiation potential there from the tusk. Really, the only hero that does stuff like that is Tiny with the tosses or something so early on in the game.
The best performing EG here right now is Fierce Death Prophet, and Na'Vi, I believe, recognizing that are eyes on the middle lane, looking to burst down Fear with the Sand King rotation. No epicenter available. The Burrow Strike into Cold Feet with an Ice Blast. That's perhaps the more important ultimate. The burst damage preventing any Spirit Siphon action. Lose Roger on the retreat. He's ticking down low. He gets a Burrow Strike out with the magic stick charges, and that should be enough to save his life. Still
crit.
ticking.
No, he's dead.
Okay, did go down. The Fatal Bonds and...
yeah, level 3 in the Shadow Word as well.
The next Chronosphere going to come out soon, or potentially an RP. I imagine that may be what Sumail was hoping for last time when they went diving behind that tower. No RPs expended as of yet.
And we weren't sure when the Jug was picked, but it does indeed look like they have found a way to stop RTZ from picking up the Battle Fury. It is to pick Magnus. It'll be okay. Yeah. Seems to be eyeing up that Manta style. Of course, against the Tinker, very helpful. Trying to keep that blind off you for as much as possible. And Fear setting up. You're kind of waiting for this, but it's too late. And, you know, it looked like they were baiting Sumail, but the bait was taken and munched up rather quickly.
Maybe able to get something in return, but not perhaps something they were hoping for, as Roger dies as the trade-off, and see if EG can turn this into any kind of tier 1 damage or even a complete tier 1 claim, because Na'Vi don't have Ice Blast for a little bit longer, but they do have Chronosphere. With Ice Blast having a short cooldown, they may be able to still make this happen. Fear the target. There's going to be the Chronosphere to start things off. The Rock gets dropped as a counter initiation tool. Crystallize, though, is still bursting down the Death Prophet. Fear dead already with the Ice Vortex, amping up a lot of that damage. And General trying to get some more here. Toss back the Tiny onto the, well, gets the Tusk onto the Warlock here, as he now needs to be a little bit careful. Sumail's returned with an RP, and that's something that looks like Na'Vi have no interest in fighting into.
I love how Na'Vi just aren't giving these away, you know? Like, we have such a farm DP, you'll often see teams like try and trade or something like that, but they're way more into fighting, and being able to bring down the Magnus without having to waste the Chrono is just massive, because then EG still commit, and they get punished hard. Yep. Like, I don't even remember last time I saw a Faceless Void who was, like, so active in terms of kills. Like, it's much more common for him to be the one, like, dodging these fights until he has that first item. But Chronos are so good.
It's also, in some ways, it's not even him going around the map making it happen. EG's you know? It's very common to try and pressure and take that offlane tier 1 tower as the first tower. Normally teams actually give it up and then try and trade tier 1 for tier 1, but Na'Vi have said, no, we've got big teamfight ultis. Our Void's already up there. He doesn't have to roam. He's just in position to begin with to make this happen.
And with Dendy coming in with the mop and bucket for the cleanup, that means he's actually past Fear, despite that laning stage in terms of the net worth.
Tides return for Dendy here, and to level 11, 800 gold towards his Blink Dagger. You see Saniko coming and get some aggressive wards down. There's a nice blast across the map, perhaps. Not sure what that was headed for. I think General was speculating there might be a hero farming Saniko.
Yeah, I think Sumail, there was a chance he was going to move to that camp, so nice little attempt there. But it does mean they don't have it on bottom now, as they're kind of trying to bait someone out to this wave as Crit is close to the danger zone.
Oh, the range creep actually attacking him there. I don't think there was a dire ward. May have just been a bit too close. A Radiant ward. General rushing the Blink Dagger on Tiny. No big surprise there. He's kind of playing the playmaking initiator in some ways.
I think that's definitely the way that you have to play this Tiny if you're going to have a Void and a Tinker on your team. Like, someone has to be doing stuff, you know? Very good to set up for the two of them, as they do try and make a little bit of an aggressive play here, maybe hoping they come across someone on their own with Arteezy and Misery, but it'll just result in a decent ward.
Right, well, there's the Yules pick up on Death Prophet. Not going to help against what happened top, the Chronosphere, so something he has to be very wary of with how he positions and plays. Warlock maybe have a Chaotic Offering, but that also may not save you inside a Chronosphere. The burst potential from AA and Tinker is such that the Void doesn't even need to necessarily do right-click damage.
No, not a very valuable Yules game here, honestly. Your
not sure what else
will be
get,
like. No, exactly. That's the problem with DP, I guess you could say. You know,
needs to
if you
kind
just
of
go like
tank up,
straight hood, it just feels, you know, you're so slow. And
yeah, that was the item I was kind of thinking of. You know, this magic burst in the Chronosphere, get like a hood, a casual bit booster, drums perhaps, but yeah, it's very hard to itemize in a game against these big like a big ulti like Chronosphere, which you're just going to die during.
I will be intrigued if he does follow up with the Blink Dagger as well.
Okay,
I feel like he'll be really squishy.
and at times I feel like that's been like a pseudo answer to the Void. You know, if you're worried about a Void Chrono Catch, having that instant blink escape once you see him, you can make sure you don't get caught if you are a hero like Death Prophet who doesn't have that instant mobility.
Yeah. And there's a lot of value in the silence in this game too. I mean, maybe if he can make some big play where he gets a decent blink silence off from like 2 heroes, helping to just set up again for Sumail could be the answer.
The scary thing right now is Navi just picked up a couple of blinks. Sand King and Tiny are ready to go. So this feels like where Navi are going to be looking to fight. They've got the edge.
Look at that vision too. I mean, they've got some vision over the Ancients down bottom. They have it into the jungle. They have it on both Ancient camps. Only blocking out one of them actually too. Yeah, they see everything the EG are up to.
Still have to show some respect towards the big team fight of the Warlock and the Magnus, but pickoffs perhaps more what Navi will be eyeing, as they aren't grouping up as 5 or anything. They've got a couple heroes top, couple bottom, and still farming Dendi's Tinker in the mid lane. Maybe even waiting for that 3rd Blink Dagger for Tinker to be kind of at his peak effectiveness in a gank teamfight scenario. You really do need that mobility.
Yeah, I would say it's EG who have kind of that pressure on them to maybe do something. Like, you just have this ultimate sitting there from DP. You kind of want to go and like throw it on a tower. They're the ones that kind of have that pressure. So if you just need to lean back for a couple items on the side of Navi, I'd say go for it. This wave down bottom has been pushed for like 10 minutes straight. They just cannot get this thing off the tower.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where if you try and have a hero push it out, they're so exposed down there, because Navi have been sitting around there. Oh, going for the Ancient is easy. Gets caught by the Ice Blast and with the Shatter effect on him. Yeah. That ain't going to do too much. Absolutely for a counterplay is EG, as they are going to go snowballing forward, trying to get Sphere into it. Has a silence, the Chronosphere's there! Oh, they set up everything up perfectly! Oh, it's a disaster for EG. They get lined up, taken out. Crystallize even gets a time walk away, does end up dying still, but see if they can bring down Fear. Fear's already gotten 1 kill for himself. May find a second as General's dead as well. This Death Prophet, level 2 ultimate, proving to be a bit too much to deal with, and I don't think Roger wants to go in for round 3. As Fear has knocked out 2 Navi players already. What a Chronosphere coming out from the Void.
I'm surprised that evened out so much, but with the fact that they're down a little bit and the double core kills from the side Navi, so excellent cleanup from Fear. Definitely saved that one.
That was
a snowball into a chrono. I've seen a lot that snowball has gone into. I don't know if I've ever seen a Void bait 3 people from a snowball into a chrono.
It's definitely very intense, and very much like the game plan for EG. You know, he waited to unleash that snowball until Fear got inside, perhaps hoping for a quick silence, but he just preemptively chronos it, which was the perfect call from Crystallize.
And there is the Blink Dagger as well here from Fear. So, yeah, BKB certainly going to help if he can manage to get that next, but it's a question like how much can he get done with just these 2 items? Like, what can he really set up for? Just, again, it feels like it's that pressure on Sumail, but he finally has Blink. Okay, he just has to go first, so it'll be time for him to actually get into this game, because it's not felt like it's been much of a factor. 1-4 and 0.
Somebody needs to take Bulba off his keyboard. Sorry, Bulba, that was too far. Too far. Not allowed to bring up that Magnus game. We've deleted that from memory. Well, as it stands, Navi smoking up. These Blink Daggers going to be the... Okay, good Blade Fury dodge from Arteezy. Doesn't get caught by the Avalanche. They could still go for this one. The Blink Burrow Strike is available. Do have to perhaps be wary that...
I mean, both supports are mid too, so this is a little bit weird. Like, both EG supports are just not there. They do not want to find any engagement.
I think if Navi had seen that sooner, had the vision in that area, they may have gone for that Blink Burrow Strike. No harm, no foul, as Navi will just use the time to farm and keep these lanes pushed out. This bottom tier 2 feels like it's going to inevitably die in the next like 5-10 minutes if it just keeps getting chipped at by creep waves. Crystallize is just pushing it out, farming the neutrals. He is maintaining a pretty good progression towards the late game here. It is still pretty even when you look at kind of the net worth of some of these top farming heroes. Jug #1, Tinker kind of comparing, Death Prophet and Void similar. The off lane is where there's a big discrepancy.
And the support duo, that's pretty much it. Those two together.
Is that something EG are going to be able to overcome just with their lineup? Like as we go into the late game, do you feel like one of the teams has an edge?
I guess probably Na'Vi, just because of Tinker, assumedly. There's that pressure of trying to catch out the Tinker. Overall, it definitely makes it look like their split push is better. Jug doesn't have that free game, so he gets out on top.
First him down. Doesn't get the toss actually onto Artesian. So that he will survive. If he didn't catch the creep with that and hit the Ice Blast, it actually got the Ice Blast damage, may have been a kill.
So as long as Void's not there, he can do that. So at least they do have that going for them, but Na'Vi might like kind of start finding that target where they're always sending the Void after the Jug, and you can't just like freely split push all these lanes and everything. I would say I feel a little bit better about Na'Vi's. Because they've been executing. I thought the early game was going to be way harder, but they caught up so fast even after that mid lane. It's a bit of an issue.
Those consecutive kills bottom on TC's Jug and getting Tinker caught up in that. The Chrono's top. The bigger thing now is Chrono's bottom. As they go on the Jug, he had the Blade Fury, so he doesn't actually get hit by the Ice Blast damage. They still look for the kill here. Up he onto the Void. Can he get the time walk off? He won't get the chance with the Omni Slash finishing him off. EG turned this one around. He is showing up with an Exorcism, so
he almost had the Yules there in the AA too.
EG win that fight, but only get a Void and commit a lot of ultimates. Similarly, though, Na'Vi used the Chronosphere of their own, so I think you're still okay with it being, if you're in EG shoes, although you will probably be saying we didn't really need to commit that Exorcism because we got nothing from it.
Yeah, the 10-minute bait did not pay off. They finally pushed out that wave, and they weren't able to complete the kill. So that was also while EG were taking that mid tower, so that was unsuccessful. The Exorcism, kind of like the first big
send a blink in mid. This time around, TC will not get the Blade Fury reactions off.
That wasn't even with Ice Blast. He melted.
Roger setting that one up. He's going to run to crit now as well. Run up in the air and silenced. Ice Blast going to go flying and miss. Crit holding his time for that one and unleashes the snowball. Followed up by a rock from the Warlock here. Can they get a follow-up kill? Likely to get Saniko, who's out of mana if they want to chase for it. And Smell is keen on doing so. Block him off and the Yules catches there. Don't see an escape for the AA. We're not going to force a fight here with Chronosphere still on cooldown.
Yeah, and I guess that means that our next target will be the Roche Pit. I see Crit drawing a big circle around it right now, so perhaps it's time for us to plant some vision, try and take over that area, start playing top with the Jug, see if they can pressure into that tower.
I think Na'Vi have to be wary of with how much they're playing more on the bottom side of the map, playing around that tier 2 a bit. As that said, EG actually have non-existent vision right now. They've got like no wards.
Yeah.
But normally this is where you'd see EG have wards all up in that dire jungle. Na'Vi's been playing bottom. We go play the top side of the map, but for the most part, Na'Vi have still maintained a decent amount of control over that area and have some vision of their own.
Yeah, they've planted pretty defensively, honestly, in the past little while. It looks like they're just trying to keep an eye on that top lane. I think they kind of sense what EG want to do, so they want to watch those neutral camps, see if anyone pressures up there, starts farming, and then they get a D1 just expiring. But there it goes, the Exorcism to the pit.
Yep. He gets clipped by it, and that healing was knocking him up. He's in trouble here if he's not careful. The Blade Fury does have that extra second duration from the talent. Likely to be bullied out of this pit if they're not careful. Here come Na'Vi. Can they stop this Roche from happening? The Exorcism
trying to stay split in the Chrono.
For a little bit longer. Even taking the fight after Roshan with Exorcism wearing off could be to their advantage here. He's got another Blade Fury up. He's going to dodge the Burrow Strike with that, but here comes Chrono, catches up more with the Tinker to follow up. The damage from General's Avalanche Toxics there as well. Na'Vi eviscerate EG. Epicenter just for the, well, he didn't need it, but he'll throw it out anyways. I think he didn't expect that fight to be as straightforward as it was, but when you've got Chronos like that crystallize, absolutely beautiful setup. Will complete the team wipe with Saniko's AA. Straight down the middle lane, Na'Vi go.
So if I look at that Roche, and what I want to do is EG, I'm expecting, you saw Misery's position. He's there putting the slowdown, and you're like, okay, he's there like for the ulti. Misery had no ult. And they fully commit in for that. Like, that's kind of brutal, you know? Yeah. They were like 50 seconds to go before it was going to be back, and they still try and go in. And again, without that vision that they couldn't really see what the Dark Heroes were up to, I can paint that as a pretty greedy play, I would say, for EG to attempt that.
Definitely a Roche which was lost by a large factor due to vision. Even just having a sentry, if they see that Ice Blast coming in and dodge it, I think they can maybe go back in.
Yeah,
it's easy, you know, full health, they dodge the Ice Blast damage. They had to get out of the pit, wait for Ice Blast to wear off. It was like a good 10-15 seconds where they weren't hitting Roche, and Navi used that time to come in. So a small thing like a sentry ward, even just having more observer vision, but Navi with a 5-man wipe, and things will reset a bit here. Shadowblade pick up on Tiny. He's now got another initiation tool. Things looking very good for Navi.
Yeah, we had Misery did, as he said, go for his Midas. He was eyeing up the pipe for quite a long time, but in the end, Fear decided to opt for the Hood. Now he's going to build in the pipe, so that's going to allow Misery to go in towards his Midas and eventual Aghanim Scepter on the Warlock. See if there'll be enough to try and turn some of these engagements.
This is, to me, becoming a bit of a trend with some of the EG games. We saw Galaxy Battles, and now this game here is that they'll give Fear a good start with these roaming tusks and stuff, but he very quickly becomes like position 3 in terms of farm priority. Like his Death Prophets have time and time again been kind of middle of the pack in terms of farm, and they'll prioritize Ortiz, of course, #1. This game around, Sumail not that farm because he's had such a bad game, but a lot of the other games it was like, we don't really care how much farm Fear has.
Yeah, they're kind of keeping this whole like, Sumail has Tide or something. Like that's a hero that is so much stronger when he's able to be the top of the net worth, you know? Like that's how that offlaner wants to be played, even though he can't always get there. Whereas with the Magnus, this game had a poor start. He has to always kind of follow the Jug, so he's trying to like keep him empowered, which means that a lot of the camps around him are therefore gone, and he can't be this like independent. You know, you play Tide, you park on a lane. He's the one who would be stopping this non-stop push to the bottom lane, but they don't really have a hero that's able to do that. And so Sumail is more of a just kind of like a trailer that follows Jug everywhere.
And it also feels like now's the time where EG were hoping they'd be able to utilize their big team fight, empower Jug, Mag RPs, multi, DP ulti, but that Roche sent them back so much. Give Navi ages, gave them a big team fight, gave them this now very monumental gold lead, and things are definitely slipping away a bit for EG.
Now EG have the vision over the Shrine, they already have the Sand King back, they have the AA back, and that might be enough to force back EG. Another decisive engagement here, and we are still with an Aegis on the side of Navi, so a little bit risky here from EG, but they're still hanging around.
Yep.
Like you've committed so much vision, you want something here.
That's what we often see from teams. You put down 2-3 wards, even in a small area. This idea of go Epicenter Fire Strike in, they're going to go in, try and burst down the Jug, but the Snowball save the blink in from Tusk, gets Ortiz out of there. Now the Skewer back from Sumail, not the same thing up, but the Cronus here still catching 2 as they'll burst down the Warlock, and it looks like the Jug could be next. The Magnus goes down, Jug using the Omni Slash, buying himself some time here, has got a Spirit Vessel on which he'll Manta off, goes down. Fear now going to use himself up in X's and trying to do what damage he can, but he's completely alone other than the Tusk, who will help Sepa kill the Sand King, but they'll pay for this regardless. 5 down, only a Sand King kill. Navi's team fight just completely outclassing and really outplaying EG right now.
Man, you would think that those were dire wards, honestly. Like, Crystallize has been so good on this Void, finding these Chronospheres, kind of waiting for that perfect moment. And if you don't have that, like, Warlock Golem ready for that big response or something like that, it's thrown off for a different reason, there's just nothing they can do. He is absolutely destroying them. Like, as I said, with that big save, too, that was used from the Tusk, that being available. Very difficult game. Just very well played by Navi, honestly.
Void is perhaps one of those answers to the Tusk, which has become so popular as a 4th position. I believe like one of the second most picked hero or something on this patch right now. Navi showing they're not afraid of it. As they take the first lane of Rax in mid, swing themselves bottom lane, and at this point EG well and truly on the back foot. They've still got RP. That's the main big ultimate they have for this fight.
He's forcing with Sight as well, but now it'll just be the Ags and the Aether.
Crystallize, there's the RP on 2. Go back catches only General. Crystallize going to actually go time blocking in with the Aegis. He's not afraid of anything right now. May need to get this healing ward, but doesn't look like that's even the case. They bring down RTC and Sumail through it as they fall back for the tier 3 tower. Can look to finish off this second lane of Rax. At that point, EG will be well and truly in a desperate do or die position, possibly even GG territory. This is starting to feel somewhat unwinnable for the boys in blue.
Yeah, I will say, you know, best one, you still have the tier 2 top, so at the very least you can still play it out. You have empowered Jug, you can keep the waves back, but more than likely.
It's one of those scenarios where, yeah, it's a winnable position. Perhaps if Navi's late game itself wasn't also as good as it is.
It's true, it is quite fantastic.
You can definitely keep these lanes pushed out and deal with it with the Empower, with the Jug and all that, but we'll see Na'Vi systematically go through some shrines now, fall back, probably try and take this tier 2 at least. I don't think they have in any rush to go for the high ground right now. They just got a huge influx of gold. You take 2 lanes of rack in a couple fights, there's probably several heroes who have cash to spend and want to do so. Yeah, Tiny, Heart of Taras, like, okay, hello. There's an item that doesn't leave a career. The Avalanche will not catch it onto the snowballing tusk. That'd be sent from Sanky, just being used for a support. Why the hell not? Chronosphere going in.
Crystallize, please.
And then catches 3 as Crystallize is just unstoppable instantly. GG is called. Misery knows this one is over. This one is done for it. GG have been bested. The best of 1.
Yeah, that one was a very nice ward there from Seneko, helping out for another great Chrono from Crystallize. Man, that Void looked real good. But as I said, I mean, great against Tusk. You can time walk out of the Ice Shard, so he has to put more of that pressure on the mid lane. Did a great job, honestly, for the full first part of the game from Crit. Can't really ask for much more from him, but the recovery from Dendi, overall just gameplay from general, he looked really solid. A lot of good initiations. Him and Roger played very well together, I thought. A lot of good toss setups from the Sand King, quick bursts, and every Ice Blast was on point.